Hi, good morning, you guys. Welcome to class for this week. You have chapters 6, 7, and 8 quiz that has opened up at 10 o'clock this morning and is due by Wednesday at 10 a.m. So you have now until then to finish that. You also need to start chapters 9, 10, and 11 as soon as possible. So this morning, if you can. And there's a lot of information in these three meaty chapters that are grouped together. From the beginning and history of the camera arts, starting with the camera obscura, which really is just a hole with light passing through it that projects an image upside down because of the way light travels. And then our ability as humans to harness that light through changing it through apertures, which really is about the closing and opening of a lens, and through the lens itself, and then also through the time that we allow that exposure of light into the space that is projected either on a glass plate, a metal plate, paper, all these things that have sort of gone into the camera arts. So we also have some discussion about photojournalism from the war, starting in the Civil War, where we document soldiers fallen in the field and how that prompts the government to be more censored about what they allow out into the world for us to see. In reference to war. There's a small chapter about photojournalism and the ethics involved in showing people imagery and how that can be skewed at times. In a world that we live in now, we often have to really question what we see and whether it's true or not true. And as a photojournalist, you really have to adhere to some ethics, and sometimes that has been skewed. So that video is all about that. We work into the time-based mediums, which means film, video, digital art. And so it's a really meaty chapter. So let's take a look at that really quickly. Here we are, early developments, chapter 9. And moving through that, lots of films for you to watch about this process, interesting people doing interesting work. Impact on other media. This is the Studies in Motion done by Edward Muybridge, and a bit about Julia Margaret Cameron, one of the first females to sort of gain some notoriety as a photographer. Small discussion, I think, really about like who really invented photography. Joseph Nicephore Niepce is a French man who is touted as the father of photography, but Talbot, who is English, also really is the person who created the ability for us to harness a lasting image on paper. So he runs a very quick second in terms of the father of photography. We move into form and content when we start talking about Alfred Stieglitz and his forming of the photo succession in 1902. He also had a huge hand in bringing contemporary art to the United States via his Gallery 291 and the production of his magazine called Camera Works, which featured many people in the photography world and influenced many others to take up a camera and produce works of art with it, including Ansel Adams, who you probably might have heard of. All right, the human element talks a bit about Atget and Albert Kahn's Archives of the Planet. Amazing, huge amount of 72,000 autochrome plates, which are color photographs on glass that he amassed by making available to people to use autochrome, and then creating this huge catalog, which is pretty cool. And you can look at it through here, the Archives of the Planet. Talk a little bit about Diane Arbus, Robert Frank. These are more contemporary, starting in the 60s, basically. And then we move slightly into color imagery. We talk about that. Irving Penn. Photojournalism. Margaret Bourke-White. Dorothea Lange with the WPA project, documenting the Dust Bowl and the plight in Middle America, often how many people came to California. A little film about the photojournalism and ethics involved in that. Modern developments in the camera arts, including the iPhone. Time-based media, again with the Muybridge and the beginning of film, how Metropolis changed the way we see the future. This is a movie made in 1927, and there's full lengths available. I am not sure this is the full-length version, and of course I would not ask you to watch that unless you're really interested in it. But it really did have a huge impact on many films and filmmakers, including people like Quentin Tarantino and maybe people you've heard of. All right, and then video art, the beginning of that, which leads us into video, obviously leads us into digital, and then graphics, the beginning of graphic design. Milton Glaser, responsible for things like I Love You, New York, and Paul Rand, and then computer and digital technology, talking about Pippa Lily Reese and her pixel forest, and virtual and augmented reality, which is something that hopefully will change the way that we view the world and the way we even learn, which will be really amazing, I think, in the future. And actually, it's sort of already happening now. So, let's take a look at the next page, which I think is, the prompts. All right, so 4 photos, 4 meanings. This is directly only one journal this time, so try to write roughly a page about it. View the 3 photos linked below. Use your interpretive skills learned in the course to describe the form and content of each image. What is the photo expressing? What is the subject matter in each image? And how do formal considerations contribute to your interpretation of each of the picture's contents? Okay. Now you can use the external links, find 4 examples, and answer the same questions. And then here are 3 photos. So Versailles Prostitute from Paris at Night, William Eggleston's Miami, and Annie Leibovitz, Meryl Streep. All right. Okay, so before I run out of time, practice test and practice answers. Of course, I would encourage you to do those to help you with studying for your midterm. The midterm does encompass chapters 1 through 11, and if you have the book, you'll have an easier time of it. And again, you will be able to utilize your book for the midterm. So let's take a look at the midterm. Open June 10th, it's 30 points, and you have the weekend to complete it. $130 minutes, okay? Time limit for each time, and you have basically 3 attempts to do it. All right, so it opens on the 8th and it closes on the 10th, 10 a.m. on Friday, closing at 11 p.m., 11:59 p.m. on Sunday. All right, so again, with that, you also have the midterm gallery exposition, hopefully a gallery trip and write-up about what you've seen. And so those 2 things are due by the end of the week on Sunday. Okay, so let's take a look at what I wanted to show you. This is the Mori Building of Digital Arts. It's a museum opening up in Tokyo, and teamLab Borderless has got a show happening beginning June 21st. So this is the video and the sort of page for this particular museum, and I encourage you to look around at the works. There's lots of videos that are attached to it. It's pretty magical. Of course, nothing can compare to actually being in the space, but it certainly is fun to look at and to visualize. There's been a few of these things that have sort of shown up, digital art in installations at the San Francisco Museum of Art and other more contemporary museums like MoCA in LA, but I'm fascinated by this, and so I just wanted to share that with you. I will list the site on my announcement for you. Okay, so hopefully that gets you up to date and into this week, and have a great week. I look forward to reading your work and commenting, and if you have any questions, of course, send them my way. All right, have a good week.